All right. Welcome to TCU
bloopers.
Sports. My name is Jacob Butzine alongside Aaron Clinker and Andrew Schultz. Music was not working today, so we decided to give you our little rendition of our theme song. So here we go. This is TC Sports. Y'all, sports is revving up. Sports world is crazy right now, and I'm loving every single second of it. I can't wait for you to watch episode 11 of TC Sports. We are just riding and dying through this. You boys ready to rock and roll?
Been ready.
Let's do it.
I was born ready.
Let's do it. All righty. First up, we got strikeout with yours truly. All right. So Phillies and Astros, they're tied at 1-1 in the series. It was 5-0 in Friday's game. Phillies came back, ended up winning 6-5 in extra innings. Absolute crazy game. Justin Verlander gave up 5 earned runs after they took a 5-0 lead. He ended up not getting the loss. But he did pitch 5 full innings, and it is what it is. So tonight they're playing right now in game 3. This is currently the reschedule from Monday's game because it got rained out. We are currently in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is up 7-0 in the bottom of the 5th. For what it looks like is Philadelphia is probably going to be the favorite to win the rest of the way, and which is surprising after firing their coach early in the season. Again, not as much to report, but who knows? We might have a World Series champion by the time we record next Thursday, because next Thursday for you all 3 of us are going to be together, and it's going to be an insane episode 12 of TC Sports. We're going to be together. We're going to be yelling and screaming at each other. Might be some toxicity. Depends. We don't know. Check back.
Might be. Guaranteed.
Oh, there will be.
Hit the over on toxicity levels next.
What's the over? What's the over like? 75%?
At least 75%. At least.
Right. So that's all I got for you right now. The series tied 1-1. They got Tuesday and they play Wednesday, and then then they'll play Thursday, and then they won't play again until Saturday. So more than likely we're gonna have a winner by then. So we will see how this goes. Moving on. All righty. We had tonight the official release of the very first college football playoff rankings, and we are here to give you our reaction of this. Now, I said before we started, I'm going to start because I am appalled.
This is from a Michigan fan. We'll just preface. It's a Michigan fan.
I am from a Michigan fan, but what I'm about to say has nothing to do with Michigan. I don't even really care where Michigan landed, because Michigan has to just do what they have to do to be in the top 5 or in the college football playoff. However, this ranking was absolutely atrocious. LSU at number 10 at 6-2. Are you kidding me? There are 3 teams that have 2 losses that are way better than them. But you know what? There's an SEC bias, and I will always believe that in this college football playoff. Kansas State, Utah, Penn State all have 2 losses and are far below where LSU is. LSU is above Ole Miss, which is fair because LSU beat Ole Miss, whatever. But I am appalled. Texas is the only 3-loss team in this? What? Are you kidding me? NC State and Wake Forest are still ranked? I mean, I just don't understand the committee. Now, it's only the first one, but I am just appalled at their first ranking. I mean, there's no business Bama should be a number 16 ahead of TCU. There's just no reason for that. And now there's going to be a top 10 matchup If Bama goes ahead and wins beats LSU, oh, they have a top 10 win. No, it's BS. I thought I hated the AP poll, but my God, I might like the AP poll better than the college football playoff poll.
At least for this year. This first one was, I think a lot of people, unless you're a Tennessee or a Clemson fan, I think you're pretty upset at this because, yeah, I'm a Michigan fan, but if you look at it pretty unbiasedly, Ohio State's non-conference schedule and Michigan's are probably equally as bad. Ohio State maybe have the edge because they had Toledo, but they're pretty much the same. And we've also played all the same teams. So I don't see how, if you're going to knock Michigan for their non-conference schedule, you're not going to knock Ohio State, because I honestly think it should be Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, OSU 3, Michigan 4, Clemson 5, TCU 6. Because Bama hasn't looked the part, but hey, they have that quality loss against Tennessee, so that automatically bumps them ahead of TCU. And LSU being at 10, I think what did I say? I think it was UCLA should be 10, I think.
UCLA came in at number 12.
Yeah. So I think UCLA should be number 10. They have one loss, but it's to Oregon, who has definitely rebounded since. And Oregon's a top 10 team according to this committee. And they also dominated Utah. Score wise, it wasn't like, a 49-3, but UCLA ran the ball right through Utah. And then Utah went and beat USC. So that, I think you should have all three of those Pac-12 teams right there at 8, 9, and 10. LSU has no business being in the top 10, probably not even in the top 15, because their two losses are, they lost to Tennessee, but they lost to Tennessee at home by like 50. It was a blowout. It wasn't even close. LSU didn't even have a chance in that game. Yeah, they lost week 1 to Florida State on a black texture point, which you can say, well, they were, first week of the season, new head coach, new all that. You can say the same thing for Oregon, but you really think LSU is a top 10 team after getting absolutely blasted by Tennessee? Like, Tennessee is your number 1 team. Yeah, they lost the number 1 team, but like they showed they weren't even close. Penn State at least showed like, hey, we can hang with Ohio State, or at least they did for 85 to 90% of that game. Like, they were right there. They probably should have won that game. If it wasn't for Frames Janklin not knowing how to have any game strategy whatsoever, just refused to run the ball when he needed to.
Before I hand it over to Aaron, just real quick, between the CFP poll and the AP poll, all the teams in the AP poll are in the CFP top 25, except one team. CFP put Texas in, the AP poll put Liberty in, but the AP poll has Texas as the 26th ranked team. So
I think Liberty should be in. They only lost. The only loss is a 1-point loss to Wake Forest at Wake, and they played really well against Wake.
My point is, I'm not disagreeing who your top 25 is. It's the way you order them is just
for sure
abysmal. Aaron, what do you think?
Well, for starters, Andrew, you brought up a really good point about Michigan and Ohio State playing the same opponents and having very weak non-conference schedules. I think we can all agree on that. And do I think that Clemson should be in the top 4? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That game against Syracuse, yeah, they won, but if Clemson is as good of a team as this committee thinks, or as the entire world, like the experts of college football think they are, then they should have blown Syracuse out of the freaking water. I'm sorry. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Also, I'm fine with Tennessee being number 1. They have proven.
Definitely. I don't think anybody's arguing Tennessee at 1.
Up to this point, Tennessee has proven that, hey, we can take you down. We can kick your ass. We can win in a shootout. It does not matter. However, Georgia, do not agree with that. They almost lost to Missouri. I forget who else they almost lost to, but they have not looked like the powerhouse that everyone says they are. Yes, they smacked Oregon all the way back to 2015 with Marcus Mariota. Like, let's be real for a second. But since then, Oregon has rebounded nicely. So how good does that win really look? That's my question. And I already went over Clemson and Michigan. I've already talked about, but Alabama, man, why? Why are they above TCU? I'm sorry. I don't care if that's a quality loss or you still lost. You still lost to Tennessee. You still, well, I can't say
quality loss, Clink. It's a
Yeah.
quality loss. Bama's the only one in the top 6 to have a quality loss, so they should be number 1.
Oh, yeah.
So I know I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. I know Joel Klatt tweeted right after that if you took TCU blindly, like their resume, if you threw like Texas or another big name school, he said they would be no less than number 4 in the country with their resume alone. Like,
oh wait, we're talking about TCU?
Yeah, TCU's had a tough schedule. They played 4 straight ranked opponents. Now Kansas lost their quarterback and they kind of slid back. TCU has beat Kansas State, who Kansas State just blew out Oklahoma State, who is according to them, a top 15 in the country or top 20. And then TCU, who else did they beat in there? They had a 4-game stretch where they beat all ranked opponents.
Well, it was Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, but Kansas and Oklahoma are bad.
Well, I wouldn't say Kansas is bad. They just lost their starting quarterback, so your level of play is going to dip a little bit. So that's not necessarily like Kansas's fault, because it just happened.
Right.
I think if Kansas quarterback is still healthy, they probably don't. Their only loss is probably TCU, and they're definitely ranked.
But
you got to take TCU
Bama's?
blind. I just, and all these teams honestly have terrible non-conference schedules other than Bama. And even then, their big thing is Texas. That's like their big one, and they barely beat Texas.
But so there's no justification for Bama being ahead of TCU. TCU has beaten 2 top 25 teams according to the playoffs first ranking. Oklahoma State and Kansas State. That is 2 top 18, not even just top 25, 2 top 18 teams. Bama has beaten 1 top 24 team, and that is the 24th Texas on the road by 1.
And they barely beat TAMU but they didn't have Bryce Young. So I mean, you can say that like it's a little bit different, but you're still Bama. Your backup quarterback should.
Doesn't matter. You still got to win. You still got to get those wins.
Yes, they hung with Tennessee, but you lost. And TCU has 2 ranked wins. Bama has 1 and 1 loss. The committee says that we don't value quality losses, and clearly you do. There's no reason that the only undefeated team should not be ranked 1 through 6, and you rank them that way.
I mean, this is all going to change. I mean, 1 and 3 play this weekend. As of right now, 2 and 5 will play by the end of the year. Clemson has Notre Dame. Bama still has to go through LSU. So, I mean, a lot can change. But, man, this committee, it is – I think we need to get rid of this type of committee, like ADs, like coaches or whatever they do. It's like I think it's currently ADs of schools. Just get them out. Like, take your analyst. You have so many analysts across the board from multiple different networks. Like, throw like the Joel Klatts of the world, throw like your Kirk Herbstreits, throw like, your RG3s, like guys who literally do this week by week and they analyze it and they break down teams and they watch the teams week in, week out, and they actually watch football. Unlike this Boo, whatever his name is, the chairman of the committee this year, who said, oh, we like balanced teams. Well, then why is Clemson above Michigan?
Well, just to add on, as you were saying that, I was just thinking, so hypothetically, NC State and Wake Forest play each other this week. So one of them's out of the rankings next week. I mean, there's that, okay?
Absolutely.
Syracuse, Wake Forest, and NC State are ranked 20, 21, and 22. Those are Clemson's wins. So they have 3 top 25 wins according to their ranking. Syracuse has to go to Pitt.
They could lose
that game. What if Syracuse loses to Pitt and obviously Wake Forest and NC State lose? That's 2 wins that Clemson loses from their resume. and Michigan would then have
I don't see Penn State losing the rest of the year.
no, but Michigan would have a top 25 win that's better than Clemson's. So resume wise, next week, even if Clemson and Michigan won, Michigan by theory would jump Clemson based on that logic, because
That's fair.
Clemson would only have one top 25 win, so would Michigan, but Michigan's is a top 15.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And that's all hypothetical because who knows? Clemson could go to South Bend and lose, and then Clemson's out for good because they can't recover from that.
No, their schedule is too weak. The ACC as a conference is too weak. I think a one-loss ACC champion is way less valuable than a one-loss SEC champion. And I say this because the SEC is a much tougher conference than the ACC. Say what you will, but if Bama were to be a one-loss SEC champion, their one loss would be, a field goal against Tennessee. Yeah, they struggled early in the year, but then they would have beat LSU at LSU, which Tennessee did. Now let's say Bama goes and blows LSU out like Tennessee did, then LSU probably slides all the way back to 20. I could see that. And then, Bama goes and beats Georgia, and let's say Georgia blows the water out of Tennessee, you can say, well, Bama showed a lot of growth, and then you have Tennessee, who has had one loss. You have Georgia with one loss. You have Bama with one loss. Tennessee would get the boot then because, you lost to Georgia. And, yeah, you beat Bama, but you got to still at least win your side of the division, your side of the conference. And then let's say Clemson goes and loses to Notre Dame, and they're a one-loss ACC champion. I would still put Georgia in ahead of Clemson, even though Clemson has their championship, because that championship is honestly so meaningless because the best teams all play in one division, and the best teams might not even be ranked by the end of the season.
I want to ask Aaron something here real quick. Aaron, why do you think they ranked Texas in the top 25 poll as the only 3-loss team in the top 25?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. When I saw that, I was a little perplexed. I'm like, but they're a 3-loss team. And, now some of those losses have not been awful, like the Bama loss. Let's be real. All three of us thought Bama was going to blow them out of the water. Let's be real here. They did. I don't remember who else they've lost to, but
they just lost to Oklahoma State after they blew the lead. They think they were up 14 or something. They blew the lead, and then I'm looking up their wins right now. So I know they lost to Oklahoma State, they lost to Bama, and they also lost to Texas Tech and Texas Tech on a field goal. But their wins are against UL Monroe, UTSA, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Iowa State, who doesn't even have a win in their conference right now. They're 0-5 in their conference, 3-5 overall. And then they just lost to Oklahoma State. So again, their wins, their losses are more impressive than their wins.
Literally. I don't know. Me personally, I would not have put Texas in the top 25, with this college football ranking or whatever they were talking about. I don't like, they do this every year. I feel like they overrate the hell out of Texas. And now Texas hasn't been like awful this year by any means, but they're not some big powerhouse like, they were way back in the day. But I just can't wrap my head around why they rank Texas.
If Notre Dame were to beat Clemson this week, I would accept Notre Dame as a 3-loss top 25 team.
Well, but that's next week. There's no reason
that is next week. But this week, yes, I think there's no reason for Texas to be in the top 25, especially with Liberty being at 7-1. Like at
there's
least
no reason that
give them some respect.
And in the first ranking, there should never be a 3-loss team unless the 3-loss team lost to your current 1, 2, and 3. That would be the only reason I would say, okay, put the 3-loss team.
But even then, it would have to be close losses, and then you would still have to have a pretty impressive schedule other than those 3.
Yes, but like Maryland has, honestly, Kentucky should be the 3-loss the only 3-loss team in at 25.
Maybe. I would see a 2-loss Maryland. 2-loss Maryland has a decent.
Maryland,
Maryland's
Washington.
wins are better than Texas's wins, I would say.
Mhm.
But even then, Liberty, their one loss is. I said this early, but their one loss is 1 point at Wake Forest. Like they went blow to blow with Wake Forest, who went blow to blow with Clemson.
Yeah, but Liberty also only
And then
beat.
Liberty just blew out BYU,
Hold
who,
on,
say
hold
what you
on.
will about BYU, they're still technically a Power 5
Let me finish.
because they're like Notre
Let
Dame.
me finish. Liberty only beat Gardner Webb by a point, and
Who?
only beat Akron by 9 points. Only beat UAB by 7 and Southern Miss by 2.
Right. But you look at Tulane, who was Tulane beaten? You
Their
know,
only loss,
because
they
now
beat Kansas
maybe
State.
not to the playoffs, these games don't matter, but when they expand, these rankings will matter for those group of 5 teams because the highest ranked group of 5 gets in because they're part of the Power 6 conferences or whatever. So these don't matter this year, but next year, the committee also has to think like, okay, where are our group of 5s? Because those are going to matter, because say what you will about group of 5s, we're sadly going to have to watch probably a one-loss Bama blow the brakes off of a Power 5 or group of 5 champion. We're going to watch
Tulane beat.
Toledo go get beat 40-20 by Georgia, and their 20 points are going to come in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
I justify Tulane being at 19 because according to their ranking, Kansas State is 13 and Tulane beat them. So I
That's
can
fair.
I can justify that. And again, they got all the teams right to an extent, maybe the last couple. It's just the orders just doesn't make sense, which
I think
again,
Penn State definitely should be higher than LSU. Their 2 losses. I mean, yeah, they got destroyed by Michigan, but it was at Michigan. And
so
then
you telling me
they fixed
LSU
their problems. They fixed the problems that they had against Michigan. And you also have to look at Ohio State. Like, how did you only rush for? I can't remember what they rushed for, but it was like pretty abysmal against Penn State compared to what Michigan did. And like Ohio State's offensive line is definitely worse than Georgia's. I think they're other than one. I think this committee got all the rankings wrong.
But according to their system, well, okay.
Maybe we need to. Maybe that's the problem.
LSU
Maybe we need to stop having people decide, and we just create like an aggregate point scoring system, and that's how we rank the teams. And we say, you know what, this is what this scoring says. This is how we're gonna rank them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The more I look at it, LSU lost. They got absolutely destroyed by Tennessee. Whatever. They lost to
It wasn't
Florida
even
State by
close
a
though.
point, but they also blew the doors off their current 11 team.
But should that current 11 team really be 11? Should Ole Miss really be 11?
I mean, let's look. Ole Miss has beaten Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa. They beat Kentucky.
And you say Michigan's non-conference schedule is weak.
Ole Miss's only loss is to LSU, and they
But
almost lost to
their
A&M.
big win is Kentucky. That's it.
But if LSU goes and beats Bama, then the committee just says, "Oh, see, we were right about LSU." But if Bama goes and beats Ole Miss, then the LSU beating Ole Miss doesn't look as good. So realistically, we want LSU to beat Bama because they're not putting a 2-loss SEC champion in. It just is not going to happen. It's unless all these other teams.
Well,
Like,
here's the thing: if LSU beats Bama, there's no one LSU would have to go on to beat Georgia or Tennessee in the SEC championship because I don't see LSU losing another game in the SEC West this year with their remaining schedule because Bama's the last hurdle for them, last big one at least.
I mean, they could slip up at Arkansas and at A&M.
They,
A&M
they
plays their
could.
competition.
They absolutely could because it's Brian Kelly. But
Hear that?
I think Bama. I think Bama. Bama's going to get it into their other gear. But I think a lot's going to change after this weekend.
Oh, for sure. I think this is another separation weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to have teams play each other. So,
And someone had said, Tennessee being ranked at number 1, there's pretty much no way that they don't make the college football playoff at this point. And I just simply don't agree, because you're going to tell me if they go to Georgia and lose that
by a
other,
lot. If
other
they
people,
lost by a lot.
it doesn't even matter if, here's the thing, is even if they lose a close one, let's say they lose by a touchdown,
They're at least dropping
They-
past 4.
they won't play. They would have Georgia to have to lose twice before the SEC championship game for them to make it. Georgia ain't going to lose again at all. So
Maybe. I mean, other than the SEC championship game.
right,
They won't lose before then.
But let's say hypothetically Georgia and Bama come back again. Bama's 1 loss. Georgia's undefeated. Bama beats Georgia. Bama, Georgia are in. They're not putting Tennessee in over a, let's just say, undefeated Clemson, undefeated TCU, and undefeated Big Ten champ. They just won.
A lot would have to happen. TCU would still have to go undefeated, and they still got games at Baylor, at Texas. And then so TCU would have to lose at least 1. Clemson would have to lose at least 1, if not 2.
My point
If
is,
Tennessee loses this week, the only way they get in is if absolute chaos happens elsewhere.
there would have to be no undefeated teams, which honestly at that point,
or at least only 1, because I don't see, like, let's say Ohio State wins out, they would be the consensus number 1, I think, at that point, because they're probably going to go play Illinois in the Big Ten championship.
The Big Ten champ is more than likely going to be undefeated. So there's going to be a Big Ten team this year, unless for some hypothetical reason the Big Ten West school wins, which won't happen.
But I mean, a 2-loss Big Ten champion in Illinois, or let's say Illinois beats Michigan and then beats Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
I don't know.
Anything could happen.
I think this weekend is going to, after this week of college football, we won't have another big week until rivalry week, in my opinion, at least in regards to who could lose, except Bama, Ole Miss. But I mean,
there's a 1 or 2 between now and week 13, but
again, there's not enough. I mean, there's not enough for me to be like, oh, this could happen. But I mean, besides, I don't know. I
don't know. Austin Peay's looking real dangerous.
Right.
That's a real tough non-conference opponent for Bama. That's a quality non-conference opponent, just like Utah State.
Hey, if they beat Bama, I think they need to be let into the playoffs.
If Austin Peay beats Alabama, they absolutely should be ranked in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it. Just put them in.
They should be in Bama spot. Bama should go unranked.
I think if Austin Peay beat Bama, Saban would get fired. He would be like,
I think Saban would retire.
Saban
would say, you know what? Maybe my time is up.
They would give him. They gave Austin Peay $1 million just for them to beat him. They'd be like, "You're done."
They'd hire Austin Peay.
Bama could lose to Austin Peay, win the SEC, and they'd still get let in the playoffs.
I don't know, but all right, let's.
We can get 1 or 2 done before the break.
So we've reacted to the playoffs
a lot.
Let us know what you think about how the teams are ranked, and we got into a little heated discussion, but I think it needed to happen. So let's just go ahead and go into this week of college football. So we have the 24th ranked Texas Longhorns up for debate at the number 13 Kansas State Wildcats. FPI gives Texas a 61.8% chance to Kansas State's 38.2. The spread is Texas at 2.5. Kansas State is the dog at 2.5. All-time record, Texas leads 12-10. Texas has won the last 5. So Texas was losing this series at 7-10. Interesting. So, Aaron, what do we think this game?
Shoot. I mean, what do we say about every Big 12 football game?
There's no defense.
No defense. A lot of points will be scored. I think we all can agree on that. Yep. Thank you very much. Just guns a-blazing. Texas and Kansas State will look each other and say, Anyways, so I started blasting, and I really don't know who to pick here, but as much as I want to bet on Texas, I think it'd be hilarious to see them lose. So I'm going Kansas State.
Ooh.
All right.
Andrew?
So Texas has a lot of problems. Their late game management under Sarkisian has been awful. I forget the exact stat, but Sarkisian has lost a lot of games where he has had the lead in the fourth quarter. Quinn Ewers has got to play better. His game management has got to be better. You can't be passing the ball like you were against Oklahoma State constantly. Bijan Robinson, one of the best running backs in college football, definitely top five. But so is Deuce Vaughn on the other side at Kansas State. Kansas State just beat the absolute brakes off of Oklahoma State, 48-0. Say what you want. It takes a little bit of defense to hold a team to 0 points, especially in the Big 12.
Right, you are, Booger.
I think Kansas State being not so favored at home is going to make a lot of Kansas State fans very unhappy. They're going to create a very hostile environment. But you know what? Texas is going to go in there. They're going to play and they're going to lose by 14. Give me Kansas State.
Yeah, I don't really understand why Texas is favored in this game. I really don't. I mean, I can't even believe watching the score of what Kansas State did to Oklahoma State. I mean, just absolute dumbbell to the head of Oklahoma State. I mean, okay, now if Texas wins at this 2.5, which pretty much is a field goal or more, which I'm whatever. I mean, they're gonna look smart if Texas wins, but I think Kansas State covers in this game and wins. I mean, FPI favors Texas by so much, and it all has to do with them being so close to Bama. Like, Bama clearly has not played well, and Bama might lose. If Bama gets past Ole Miss and LSU, they're right into the SEC championship game. But they're both on the road, and Lane Kiffin's not gonna go down without a fight, and same thing with Brian Kelly. So give me Kansas State. They cover.
Just real quick. Did you guys see that video of Oklahoma State's backup quarterback when he was about to take the snap? His hands were just shaking.
Yeah, he was in it. So, like, a lot of people are like, oh man, he's scared or whatever. But also at the same time, you have to think he's got so much adrenaline pumping through you. And if you've ever, like, been in a game like that where you got your adrenaline at like an all-time high, you cannot help but shake at that point. So I think it was just adrenaline. I don't think he was like scared. I think he's just like so jacked on adrenaline that like he was shaking, because that's what happens when you're on adrenaline. Like, your body just has so much energy, it doesn't know what to do. So, like, I mean, that's a testament to quarterbacks, being calm in that scenario. But I mean, like, he's a backup. Like, it was one of his first times going into the game. So, I mean, like, yeah, he's going to shake a little bit. He's going to be a little pumped on adrenaline because, he's getting his chance to start. So, I mean, I don't think it's not like anything to worry about. So
I think South Dakota State should be in the top 25 according to the CFP's.
According to the CFP, Baylor should be ranked ahead of Texas.
According to the CFP, they don't know what's happening. All right, moving on. Next game. We got the number 4 Clemson Tigers heading to South Bend to take on the unranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Clemson's giving a 64.8% chance to win compared to Notre Dame's 35.2. The spread is Clemson at 3.5. Notre Dame is 3.5 dog. All-time record. Woo. Lots of games played. 6 games. Clemson leads 4-2. Notre Dame has won 3.
One of them was the ACC championship during the COVID year, because Notre Dame somehow joined a conference for that year. And the other was a bowl game in which I believe we all remember Clemson beating the absolute brakes off of Notre Dame.
Yes.
That was a playoff game.
So, Andrew.
So in regular season play, they are 2-2. Now, as a Michigan fan, I'm going to say this. I hate with every living fiber in my being Notre Dame. Hate them. Can't stand them. But they're cowards. They backed out of the series, whatever. That's another topic for another day. Man, Clemson being ranked ahead of Michigan. As a Michigan fan, that makes me infuriated. I am mad beyond all belief. And now Notre Dame, not a great start to their season, but they've really turned it around. They established the run. Now their only target is Michael Mayer, so maybe they need to figure that out. But I think Notre Dame has really kind of turned things around. Marcus Freeman is kind of starting to get his groove. And being in South Bend, that place is going to be rocking. They hold like 76,000, something like that. Which, casual 30,000 plus less than the big house. But I think Notre Dame goes in there and they upset Clemson because I don't think Clemson is all that good. And they might have a quarterback controversy over there in the place they come from, whatever it's called. I can't remember where they come from in Carolina.
Death Valley?
No, it's not Death Valley. There's an actual city, but I can't remember.
Aaron!
Quick, get your say in, Aaron, and then we'll get Jacob, and then we'll head to a break.
Yeah, I just want to say this. Watching Clemson's backup QB against Syracuse, I could have played better than that. Anyways, not the point. Screw it. I'm going to go with Clemson because I just don't think Notre Dame is – I mean, obviously they've turned it around, but this year they just don't have a ton of offensive firepower, and that's going to have to change. So give me Clemson.
Don't you dare. Sorry, Aaron, that's not you. Don't you dare CFP put them Clemson Tigers above Michigan. Give me Notre Dame. I hope Notre Dame knocks the absolute doors off of Clemson, puts Dabo Swinney in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl on December 28th. Give me Notre Dame. I mean, I really don't care that much because Michigan has to win out, but give me Notre Dame because I think Notre Dame is going to put up a fight. So, all right. When we come back from break, we will head out college football and keep going along with the podcast. Everyone.
This matchup with Ohio State has paid off. 3rd and 5.
So, speaking of Ojabo, he just recently was announced active for the Ravens defense. So that Ravens defense is about to be elite. But I felt like I had to
along with Tyus Bowser, by the way, it wasn't just Ojabo. Bowser has also been activated. So scary hours for anybody who plays that defense.
But everyone wants to hear a good old Gus Johnson Ojabo.
We love Gus.
I do love Gus, but I don't want to hear that call. So
I love his Hampton Inn commercials where he's just like waffles.
Wait, Andrew, who am I?
I don't know.
Oh, you weren't watching on TV. That's all Michigan State would do the entire time. Every time they showed Mel Tucker, the chop it. That's all they were doing. We were like, what?
So everyone's probably seen the clip of him swiping at the fan or whatever. So the fan was trying to pet his head.
You know what he was doing? Hey, I like your cut, G.
All right, Clank. Let's head to the next college football game. Let's get back on track here.
All righty then. The number 6 Alabama, debatable, Crimson Tide head to the LSU ranked number 10, debatable, Tigers in Death Valley. Bama is given a 76.4% chance to beat LSU to 23.6%. The spread is Bama at -13, LSU +13. The all-time record, Bama leads.
Oh, that's supposed to say 54-25. My
bad. We're firing the editor.
That's my bad.
Bama leads 54-25 to 5. Bama has won 2 straight. Now, we clearly made ourselves very clear about how we feel about these two teams.
Yeah, we did. We did go into a deep dive, so I'm gonna keep what I say brief. I don't think LSU is that good. Brian Kelly in big moments chokes. Give me Bama by 26.
Who am I?
Family.
Aaron.
I can't fucking stand Alabama. But unfortunately, I have to pick them. So give me the cousin fuckers by 20.
I'm sorry, I couldn't believe he said it. I was like, is he gonna say it? He's not.
He said, "Here we go."
And 18 plus. You know, I just don't like either of these teams. I mean, I hope I'm not trying to be like this just because I'm a Michigan fan, but I just do think there's an SEC bias. Now, the Big Ten hasn't given anyone, a chance to defend them because the only SEC has dominated, but just been Bama and Georgia. I mean, at this point, just get rid of conferences and just realize like it's just these two teams. And honestly, of course they're going to play well to end the season when they have pretty much a bye week the week before their rivals. I mean, if Michigan and Ohio State both played, Austin Peay the week before the big rivalry, of course they both would be loaded. But instead, we have to go play tough games every week after week 3.
The SEC only plays
And they only play 8.
conference games. Big Ten plays 9.
Right. So
Big Ten, I think, is the only conference to play 9 conference games.
And whether or not you can you can say but you play Indiana. Okay, Indiana's still better than Austin Peay.
Absolutely. And Utah State.
And Utah
UT
State.
Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And the Citadel.
Wait, so did Aaron, who did you take?
Do I gotta say it again?
He
Did
took the cousin humpers.
Cousin fuckers, but yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to see if you'd say it again.
I'm warming up for my next segment.
He's got to prepare himself for the NFL.
I know I said there should not be in the top 10, but I'm going to take the LSU Tigers only because I just don't want Bama in the playoff. And the only way to do that is if LSU goes in there.
It's not true. Georgia could go beat Bama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, but I don't want an SEC team in it, and this is a good chance for that to happen.
Well, hate to break it to you, but no matter what, there's going to be an SEC team in the playoffs.
No.
Dude, every SEC hey, listen. Every SEC team could have like 1 or 2 losses, and they would let fucking Vanderbilt in just because they gotta have an SEC team in there.
Even a 2-loss LSU might make the playoffs. Where they're currently ranked.
I doubt it, but I'm gonna take LSU in this one. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but you know what? I need to gain some ground. So
yeah, you're just gonna lose more ground. You're gonna be down by 11 now.
You know what? It's okay.
Because we
just wait. Hey, just wait till he's down 28-3. He'll come back.
I'll come back. I'm not Tom Brady. I got the Tom Brady in me.
He's down 31-21.
Close enough. Moving on.
The Tom Brady of this year, because that's not good. He clearly forgot how to score, just like your picks.
We got the game of the year here, heading to Athens, Georgia.
We'll see if it's game of the year.
The number 1 Tennessee Volunteers head to Athens, Georgia to take on the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's given a 74.9% chance to beat Tennessee's 25.1%. Georgia is favored by 9 points. Get out of here. The all-time series lead, Georgia leads 26-22-2. Georgia has won the last 5, which means Tennessee was winning 5 years ago. Or I guess 6 years ago, whatever. After 6 years ago, however you want to say that. So, we'll start with Andrew Schultz.
All right. First, I'm going to just get this out of the way now before, Tennessee fans come for my head because apparently they hate Michigan. Whatever. Tennessee absolutely has earned the right to be number 1. I don't think anybody has disagreed with that. Tennessee, absolutely. You guys have had a tough schedule. You've won every single game you've needed to win up until this point. This is where men become boys in the SEC. Okay? These are the games if you want Tennessee.
Boys become men.
Yes, or men to boys. Okay?
I mean, yeah, but right now they're both
But there's
boys.
no Jerry Sandusky's in these two organizations, so I don't think they got to worry about that.
Not so fast, my friend.
A wild Jerry Sandusky appears.
Jacob, use nope, not gonna say that.
Jacob uses chastity belt.
Jacob, use a condom.
Go
Um,
on.
Tennessee's big flaw has been their defense up until this point. You know, they gave up 50, what was it, 49 or 50 points to Alabama.
I mean, it's Bama though. Let's be honest.
But it is Bama. Bama's got a great offense, but you still gave up a lot of points. Now, you just came off a huge win against Kentucky where you clobbered them like 44-6. And yes, I did pick Kentucky to win that game. Just because I had a lead in our picks, and I was like, you know what, I'll just pick all the upsets because I like to see the occasional upset here and there.
We got one right. I got one right.
Yeah, so did I. Because I picked all the upsets. I picked all the upsets. Clink, you got 3 right. You got the we all got the I can't remember what game it was. I think it was we all picked Oklahoma State, and that just didn't happen. Tennessee definitely has earned the spot.
away.
However, Georgia's still the Bulldogs. So I think the Dogs are gonna kind of I don't think they're gonna expose Tennessee, but I think they're definitely gonna show like, hey, Tennessee's defense is not up to caliber with what it needs to be. And I think Georgia's offense is good enough to beat Tennessee's defense. Brock Bowers is going to have a game, the tight end for Georgia. We'll see what it's Jaleem Hyatt, right?
Yeah.
For Tennessee. Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt, I think is his name.
He's really talented wide receiver. We'll see what he does against Georgia's corners. Georgia's got a really good secondary, as well as a defensive line. Their linebackers, they lost all their linebackers to the NFL, but as Georgia does, they kind of reloaded. Their linebackers are kind of finding their way again. They did just lose their best linebacker though, so we'll see if they can go next man up. But fortunately for Georgia, Tennessee doesn't have a big tight end that is really a threat like Georgia does, because I think Georgia just took them all from everybody. So I think Georgia wins this one in a good old SEC battle. And I think Georgia actually does cover. I think Georgia wins by 14.
I want to go back to the Jalen Hyatt thing. I don't remember what game it was. Dude was just wide open. Like, even the announcers were like, how are you leaving this guy wide open? So is it that I'm not dogging on him that he's that he's not a good wide receiver. He's a great wide receiver. But is part of it because of how open he is? I mean, he was catching, like, literally, like, he was able to catch, turn around, probably have a freaking granola bar before anyone would get to him. Like, I think this is the matchup that we're all wanting to see, is how can Tennessee's offense match up to an elite, probably NFL, I don't know if NFL style, but NFL elite defense. I mean, they just sent a bunch of NFL players for people to the NFL. So
like 7 of them. So
right, and honestly, they kind of reloaded in a way. Maybe not to that caliber, but they did. If I remember correctly, they just lost their starting linebacker for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just said
so that. I think, not to, put a hurdle on our thing. I just was curious on if you really think he is, or maybe he's just open. I don't know. So
I mean, he's getting open, so that says something. Maybe it's his route running that gets him that open.
That's true.
I haven't been able to watch a lot of film on him. Being in school doesn't really give you a lot of time to sit and watch football film all day.
How dare you have a life?
I know, right? How dare I go and achieve, great things for my future?
Boo.
All right, Clink, what are your thoughts on this game?
Look, as much as I want Tennessee to win because I like Hendon Hooker, I think he is definitely top 3 in Heisman voting right now.
Number 1 by Vegas odds.
And honestly, like, I'm happy for Tennessee. Like, one of my best friends who I used to work with, he is a diehard Tennessee fan. And like, I've watched a couple Tennessee games with him over the years, and like, just seeing the pain in that dude's eyes, it's like, damn, I really hope Tennessee gets good one day. And here we are. They're undefeated, #1 in the country, as they should be. Going up against the defending national champs. But unfortunately, I got to go with Georgia because I don't know what Tennessee is going to be able to do against Georgia's defense. It's like Butson said, Georgia is starting to become an NFL factory, especially after this past year. So we'll just have to see, but I'm going with Georgia.
Not so fast, my friends. Not so fast.
You know, I'd say this is a free point, but this game can honestly go either way.
Really could.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing: is the only reason I'm going to take it now. If we were just doing this based off of spread, I would take Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee either way outright, but I think Tennessee's at least going to cover. I mean, I think I think Georgia's defense is better than Bama's, and look what Bama did to Tennessee. So, I don't know. I just I think Tennessee's offense is really good, and I think that they come ready to play every single week. So I don't see this being a blowout in any way, shape, or form. Even 14 points if Georgia were to win, like Andrew said, still not bad considering Georgia just won the national championship and pretty much brought back their offense. And it's Georgia. I mean, they recruit very well. But I think Tennessee is #1 for a reason. I think they go into Athens and honestly, if Tennessee is the only SEC team, I'm fine because that's a new SEC team. I don't want Georgia and Bama in the playoff. And frankly, people can say they don't want Michigan in the playoff, but like, listen, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, or Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, and Clemson have always made it. So, like, let other people, have the chance. And honestly, when this 12-team playoff comes, these Georgia, Bama's, Michigans, Ohio States, they're not even going to sweat it any year. Like, at this point, we're going to make the playoff every year unless we just have a really bad season, which I just don't see happening. So, give me Tennessee in this.
All right. Well, before we end our college football segment and head into NFL, so I'm gonna just say a little something about the Michigan State tunnel incident.
We shall.
Because we definitely should address it because we are sports media, and it definitely did happen. Absolutely unacceptable behavior from Michigan State. Now you can say it's the tunnel at Michigan. Having one tunnel, the locker rooms I've been down that hallway. Michigan's locker room literally is just a few feet and to the right past the visitors' locker room, which is on the left. Now, for rivalry games, they absolutely should, maybe they do rope it off. Maybe they have, state troopers or whatever sit in there just to kind of like caution, like just because I don't think this would have happened if, there was more police officers there or if there was one or two in the tunnel because they definitely would have been arrested on the spot. What happened was absolutely egregious to any college football organization. If it was, no matter who it was, it definitely should not have happened. But this is just the kind of scumbag behavior I expect out of Michigan State. There have been 600 home games in the Big House. This is the first incident I can recall ever happening like this, where it is physical assault. There definitely is lots of jawing in that tunnel. We've seen it over years with Michigan, Ohio State. There's old videos from the 80s of them going back and forth at it, but it never got physical. Earlier this year, Penn State allegedly threw a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at RJ Moulton.
That's assault with a PB&J.
Which led to Penn State getting beat 25-3 in the second half of that game. So I think it's my theory is that teams hate that Michigan is now good at football. Because for a while, and now this is also the new digital age where you have social media players, they like to talk. And when you can't back it up on the football field, things happen. Michigan State showed more fight in that tunnel than they did in 4 quarters of football against Michigan. Um,
It really
absolutely egregious. The tunnel is not the problem. If you go, oh, it's the tunnel. No, it's just attitude reflecting leadership, and that's what that says about Michigan State.
And the way you act is usually reflected upon the.
I mean, there's a camera literally sitting right there, saw the whole thing. Like
Hold
in
on,
this
hold on.
digital age, you have to be wary of that. Like you can't be thinking, oh well, nobody's watching because we're in the tunnel. Like
Hold
no,
on.
the camera saw everything.
Everyone, hold on. I think everyone needs to hear this. The way your players act is directly affected or directly a direct representation of your coaching staff. And I will always stand by that because you clearly let a lot of things go. You clearly allow this kind of behavior. I don't care that you suspended 8 players and possibly more. You clearly don't run a tight ship. And you were given a 10-year, whatever $1 million contract.
85.
And now you're stuck with that contract in Michigan State. Mel Tucker beat Michigan State twice, or Mel Tucker beat Michigan twice. Once during a COVID year, and once because we blew a lead, and you just think, oh, he's the greatest. You've done nothing else except beat us. And look at now, Paul's back home, and he's going to be home for 10 straight years. So I hope you're ready for him to be in maize and blue for the next 10 years.
We might not even bring him to East Lansing next year. We'll keep him in Ann Arbor.
I'm just appalled about how
It
you
is
had
just
to
absolutely
act.
egregious, no matter who you are. And you can say it's one tunnel, but there are videos of Michigan and Ohio State jawing each other at Ohio State where they have 2 tunnels because they come out and guess what? It's Michigan Ohio State. They're gonna yell at each other. They're gonna jaw. There've been fights before the first snap of the game between Michigan and Ohio State at Ohio Stadium, which has 2 tunnels. So you can say it's the one tunnel, but clearly only 3 programs. Well, I should say only 2, because Michigan and Ohio State are going to jaw at each other. It's gone back years.
Oh yeah.
Michigan
But I mean, Penn
State,
State and Michigan State. This is the first time I've heard of Penn State. I think that rivalry is getting a little heated because Frames Janklin hates Harbaugh, and Harbaugh's like, whatever, dude. You can't win any big games.
Michigan
And then
State,
Michigan State is just a direct reflective of leadership at this point.
Michigan State, Ohio State, and Penn State have kicked Michigan's teeth in for 20 plus years. And now
Well,
that Michigan, well, just humor me. Those 3 have bullied us for 20 plus years. Now that Michigan, and again, Michigan can still lose to Ohio State this year, doesn't matter. My point is last year, Michigan finally beat Ohio State, and Ohio State was chippy, which it's always chippy. That doesn't bother
they
me.
always jaw.
But the 3 teams,
them getting on social media, I mean, that's nothing for Michigan and Ohio State fans.
well,
That's nothing new. But
those 3 problems all happened when Michigan was beating them, and then that end result was Michigan winning. They did not expect it because they just said, oh, it's Michigan. We've beaten them for this. No, Harbaugh has changed. Harbaugh has changed Michigan. Michigan is changing. The pendulum is going back in the right direction, I hope. So there's that.
I want to say one more thing before
Yes,
we
sir.
All right. So you guys kind of put it best. There's no kind of call for that behavior, and you guys know how I feel about Michigan, but if I was Michigan State's head coach,
we change that next week, Aaron, when you experience the big house for the first time.
not happening. I'm not going to be welcome back home. Anyways, my point being, if I'm Mel Tucker, not only am I suspending those 8 players, which by
They
the
already
way,
did.
well, obviously, but by the way, they suspended more players than the amount of points they scored in that game. So that's an issue. If I'm Mel Tucker, honestly, I'm just kicking those guys the fuck off the team. I don't care if there's 1 tunnel. I don't care if there's 3 tunnels. I don't care. Like, there is no kind of call for that. Like, if you want to, yes, you're frustrated, you lost, but there is no kind of call for that behavior. Like, you don't just go jumping a player, and I saw the video. I will say this, the Michigan player was kind of jawing at him. However, he had the right to, because they had just won. Those players chose to react the way they did, and now they're facing the consequences. And honestly, I don't want to be Mel Tucker because of what just happened, but if I was Michigan State's head coach and what I saw my players doing that, I'm sending their asses right back out onto the field, and we're doing wind sprints until the sun comes up, because I'm not going to stand for that shit. You're supposed to be a Power 5 school. You're supposed to be, a Big Ten school, which has the Big Ten conference, which has so much history to its name. And you go out and you do, not only do you shit the bed on the field, but you shit the bed post game by choosing to go after that Michigan player, which, as I said, yes, was he running his mouth? Absolutely. And do I believe in this isn't a philosophy like talk shit, get hit, but you don't go and use your helmet to start, just because someone's talking shit. Like, I get it. I didn't play in college or anything, but like, when you get your ass beat in a football game, it's no fun. I understand that. But my point being, there is no kind of call for that. There is no call for that behavior. That is unacceptable. Mel Tucker needs, or whatever his name is, whatever the bald Mr. Clean looking ass, whatever his name is.
Tel Mucker. TELMUCKER.
Okay.
Tel Mucker.
Okay, whatever the dude's name is, I don't care. You need to be held accountable. You need to be fined. Obviously, those players have had the punishment thrown at them. They need to be kicked off the team, because there is no kind of call. There is no call. There is no excuse. There is no reason for that kind of behavior. And I guarantee you, I would hope that if this is Ohio State and they did that to Michigan, I would still be calling them out. If this is Michigan and they did that to another team, I would be calling them out. This is not just because I don't like Michigan State. And honestly, I don't like Michigan either. But this is not just because of the two teams I don't like. This is because, like, when you're on a national stage in front of millions of people, or not millions, thousands of people, and millions of people watching this on TV, you are representing yourself. You are representing your family. You are representing your coaches and your coaching staff. And like Butson said, that's a reflection of how those coaches run the show over there. And that's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, it, like, as a Michigan State fan, you see that, and now your program is just painted with this as a controversy. From now until Mel Tucker leaves, he's going to be asked, well, what's your culture like? Because I mean, it's just poor behavior. There's just, like you said, there's just no excuse for it.
No, none.
And I think there's nothing more to say about it. It's just awful what it is, and I think we should be done addressing it, because it just takes away from the game that we love. So.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
All right.
Let's head into the NFL's best with Eric Clicker breaking it down. Let's go.
All right. Thank you very much, fellas. So, NFL Week 8. It was fairly boring weekend. We had a couple good games here and there, but I'm just going to go down the list. So, Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, which I don't know why it is on Amazon Prime. Don't know why. We had the Ravens and Buccaneers, and it was about your usual Thursday night game. The Ravens ended up coming out on top 27-22. Tom Brady is now below 500 for the first time since like 2001, which honestly, I'm actually pretty impressed with that. But my man needs to retire. I'm not going to make fun of any of his off the field issues. He just needs to retire. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's coaching or if it's Tom or what, but he needs to retire. Anyways, Cardinals, Vikings. Kyler Murray had Call of Duty on his mind. Vikings win 34-26. Broncos, Jaguars. Broncos country flew away from London with a win. The Jags, they're still a very young team. Hopefully they figure it out. Panthers, Falcons, and ironically, what was one of probably the best game all Sunday. Went into an OT matchup thanks to a last-second Hail Mary from PJ Walker to DJ Moore that it doesn't rival the Minneapolis Miracle, but it's up there. And DJ Moore thought he was Stephon Diggs taking his helmet off, celebrating the touchdown, which resulted in his team getting penalized and the extra point got moved back. And that contributed to them losing. And then Bears Cowboys. Ironically, the Bears defense kind of sold on them as the Cowboys blew them out 49-21. Although Justin Fields looked a lot better. Granted, this 2021 QB class has not looked very good overall. So I take that information and do with it what you will. And then Dolphins Lions. The Lions, with all the fight in the world, still could not close out games. I personally think that is their biggest issue, but I'm not going to get into that. Oh, Andrew, buddy, I'm sorry. Raiders, Saints, good Lord. Raiders, what happened? Come on. Patriots, Jets. Zach Wilson must have left his dog mentality at home because he did not look good. How do you throw an interception when you're trying to throw the ball away? Like, someone explain that to me.
Quinn Ewers did it.
Okay, well, maybe Quinn Ewers is the next Zach Wilson. Anyways, Eagles, Steelers. This Eagles just bent over the highest paid defense in the NFL. God, I bet you guys are really missing TJ Watt right now. Eagles, they're probably going to end up going undefeated in the regular season. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. And then Titans, Texans. King Henry did his thing. He bent the Texans over the table just like he does with the rest of the AFC South. Commanders, Colts. Sam Ellinger, you are not back, but you honestly did not play too bad either. So, yeah, but you still lost. That sucks. Commanders all of a sudden have life. Who would have thought? Taylor Heineke, just for better or for worse, that man is so much fun to watch. And then 49ers, Rams, Sean McVay once again gets bitch slapped by Kyle Shanahan on the regular season. Will it happen in the playoffs? Well, I don't even know if the Rams are going to make the playoffs, so we'll see. And then Giants, Seahawks. Geno Smith continues his revenge tour for whatever reason and beats up on the Giants. Giants are still a good team. They're still a good team. And Packers, Bills. Oh my God. This is a special message to Jair Alexander. Stephon Diggs is your daddy. He took both pairs of balls in his nutsack and dragged it across your face. The Packers are just down bad right now. And I've also noticed that ever since the Packers beat the Bears, they've gone on like a 4-game losing streak. So thank you, Chicago, for letting Aaron Rodgers own you so this could happen. I don't think that's what really happened, but
Mine end this week though because he plays the Lions.
I hope so.
But it's in Detroit.
No. I hope the Lions win. I really do.
It's in Detroit.
The Lions have better receivers than the Packers, ironically. Never thought I'd be saying that. And then on Monday night, it was spooky season for Cincinnati indeed. Good Lord. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter who the quarterback for Cleveland is. Joe Burrow cannot beat Cleveland. Like, that man is like Kirk Cousins on Monday night in Chicago for some reason.
Bengals are 0-12 in their last road primetime games.
Sad.
Oh, well. But yeah, that was the NFL's best.
Oh, righty then. Moving into our NFL picks for the week. Aaron, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
I just want to say I like this new format. But anyways,
you see Eagles.
Hold on, let me get the
Start with Eagles, Texans, then go right, and then to Packers, Lions across. Yeah. Go.
All right.
I want to get the Packers out of the way. Anyways,
Give it to me quick and fast.
Eagles, Texans. I got the Eagles, no question. Colts, Patriots. I'm going to go with the Patriots. Belichick's going to continue his winning streak. Packers, Lions. You know what? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid once again this week, baby. Let's go Lions. Chargers, Falcons. Give me the Chargers because I think they're semi-fully healthy this week. Bills Jets. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but the Bills are still going to pull it out because they're just that good. And then Vikings Commanders. I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one, but the Commanders are not a team to be overlooked. And then Panthers Bengals. I got the Bengals. Baker Mayfield, unless they decide to start him, they ain't winning.
Starting PJ Walker.
I know. I know. And then Raiders Jags. Give me the Raiders. This is going to be a fucking tank bowl.
All right, Andrew, go ahead with this slide before we move on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I like the Eagles. I don't see them losing anytime soon. Give me the Indianapolis Colts just because I think they're slightly better than New England. Yeah, they blew it, but they just fired their offensive coordinator. So maybe Frank Reich takes over, kind of changes things. Give me the Lions because I just can't stand Green Bay, and I'm not picking them. I'm actually going to take Atlanta over the Chargers simply because Atlanta loves to run the ball. Chargers have really struggled against the run game. So I think Atlanta really kind of controls this game with the run and ends up pulling it out.
All right, just picks.
Buffalo absolutely going to dominate the Jets. Minnesota, they're probably going to go 15-1, 16-1, whatever. Give me the Cincinnati Bungles or Bugles or whatever you want to call them. Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Vegas is just garbage. Miami's going to blow the doors off of Chicago.
All right, we haven't moved on to the next slide.
Oh, wait, hold on. My bad. I went too far.
All right, I'm going. All right, ready? Houston. Yes, I said it. Houston. New England. Green Bay. Chargers.
You're dead to me.
Chargers.
You're dead to me.
What game is next? The
Buffalo,
Bills.
New York.
Buffalo. Then Minnesota. The Bungles. Then the Raiders. Next slide.
Yes, sir.
You want me
Aaron,
to
go.
start?
All right, so I got the. Are we good? Okay. Anyways,
Yeah,
all right. I got the Dolphins. I got the Seahawks. I got the Rams. I got the Chiefs, and I got the Ravens because I hate the Saints.
I already said I'm going with Miami, so I'm sticking with that. Give me Seattle. Geno on MVP tour watch. Yeah, I said it. Give me the Rams.
He's him.
Give me the Rams because Tampon Bay is washed. Give me Kansas City, and then give me Baltimore because they have Bo.
All right, you ready? Here we go. Quiet you. I'm gonna take Chicago.
You're
Yep.
dead to me.
I said it. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I'm gonna take Tampa Bay. Wait, did I pick that? No, I'm sorry. I want the Rams.
Cardinals
I'm
of
sorry.
Prime Call of Duty release.
Sorry. I want the Rams. I want the Rams, not the Bucks. I apologize.
Wow, picking against his daddy.
Kansas City's gonna win this game, and then give me Bo.
All right.
What another successful edition of TC Sports Podcast. Boys, this is our baby. TC Sports, the Council Sports Talk. It is great to do it with you boys on Tuesday nights.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the videos if you do enjoy them, because I would really appreciate it.
Yes.
Also, share. Spread the word to your friends.
And anytime Aaron talks, make sure to plug your kids' ears.
Yes.
Yeah.
I apologize, little Timmy.
If you're learning new words for the first time, just don't repeat them to your parents.
You can say them around, listen, you can say them around your friends, but don't say them around your parents.
So this is TC Sports. I'm Jacob Butzine alongside Aaron Klinker and Andrew Schultz, and we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, music is still broken. So Tom Brady is a system quarterback.
Rodgers is a pussy ass.